And let's get right to our next guest, United States Congressman Guy Reschenthaler. Guy, good morning.
Larry, Marty, good morning. Thanks for having me on as always.
Well, man, I sent you this piece. I was actually kind of fascinating from the Wall Street Journal. If a Martian arrived in Washington, not knowing who had won the November election, he'd be forgiven for thinking it was Democrats. Usually the losers are in disarray, but not this time. This is actually fascinating. Republicans, who ostensibly won the majority, can't even find the votes to elect a speaker, much less agree on budget strategy or much of anything else. And by the way, that's the Wall Street Journal, my brother. Jump in here, boss.
You texted it. Yeah, you texted to me. I texted you right back. It's like our government is broken. You know, this is going to be an epic embarrassment if on January 3rd, when we're to swear in a speaker, elect a speaker on the House floor, we can't muster the votes for Kevin McCarthy. And really what it comes down to is you have what some in the media describe as saboteurs, 5 saboteurs on the Republican side that refuse to vote for Kevin. And what this could do is it could open the doorway to have, for example, Hakeem Jeffries from the Democratic Party get the gavel. You could have a compromise where you bring in a moderate Democrat from outside of Congress. So it's really, we're snatching defeat out of the jaws of victory here with the chaos that we're in. And let me just be clear, you don't have to be in Congress to be the Speaker of the House. So it is a real possibility that this weakness could lead to somebody like a Governor Bill Richardson, for example, coming in to do this, or a Lieberman type. I don't know who's being floated. For me, I'm 100% behind Kevin McCarthy, but that's the real risk we're facing moving into January 3rd.
Wow. Guy, has that ever happened in our lifetime where I just assume it had to be someone from Congress?
To my knowledge, it hasn't happened. It might have happened with Henry Clay, but I can't recall the details of that. But in modern history, this has not happened. We've had situations where a speaker hasn't been elected for a few months, and what happens is the House as a whole votes to allow for a plurality of the members of the House to elect a leader. We clearly have the plurality to elect Kevin McCarthy, but the Democrats are way too smart to let us get away with that. That would be a free pass, and the Democrats aren't going to break and allow us to get away with a plurality when electing the speaker.
I love you. We're tight. We go way back, and I always admire your honesty. So you sent me this message early Saturday morning. It's going to be a mess. These next 2 years, expect very little. That's hard to hear, man. Hard to hear.
True, Marty. I mean, Marty, it's absolutely true. I'm not going to sit here and BS you on this. Here's why you should expect very little, and I'm just being realistic here. We've got a Democrat-controlled Senate. Obviously, we have a Democrat in the White House, and now we have a House majority that is incredibly fragile with 222 votes. And again, you have these 5 saboteurs that are going to make it hard for us to pass anything. So we're going to have what's called divided government. The good news on that is that the markets and the economy typically reward divided government because there's more stability in the market. That's the only real silver lining. We're not going to be able to do any sweeping reforms. We'll be able to do some oversight investigation. We'll be able to play defense in the House, but don't expect anything to drastically change for the better here. And let me just say this to show you how broken it is in Washington D.C. At 3 a.m. this morning, we were given a tax bill from the omnibus, a $1.7 trillion spending bill. Right. I'm on the House Appropriations Committee. This is the first I'm seeing this text.
What?
And I'm expected to, as early as tomorrow, vote on this in the Rules Committee.
What?
Yes. It's
how the hell could you do that?
They do it all the time, Marty. It truly is. If people knew how broken Washington D.C. was, they'd be outraged. We'd have a much different political landscape. But unfortunately, this chaos is not covered fully, and also just how leadership rams through these bills without the rank and file knowing. And look, I'm a member of leadership, and I'm saying it's not right. This is incorrect.
Hey, so Guy Reschenthaler, Republican. Yeah. And again, I've known you for so many years, and you've been so effective. Sometimes you sit there with your wife and think, why the hell am I doing this? I can't make a difference.
You know, you get your wins when you can. When I was in the state Senate, I clearly felt like I was getting more legislative wins, the smaller body. But I feel like it's more important now than ever to be in Washington, D.C., because we're at what I would consider a breaking point. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic here. We really are, I think, at a breaking point in so many ways. So I feel like it's just a further of my military service to be in Congress, and that's how I view it.
We appreciate your input this morning, guy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, gentlemen. Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you beforehand.
Thanks for being honest.
Merry Christmas.
Man.
United States Congressman Guy Reschenthaler on Disk Institute of Pittsburgh Newsline.